Hey guys, welcome back to Genealogy and Chronology. Today we are back to Middle Earth and we will be discussing about the complete chronology of the Silmarils. For those of you who don't know, the events that we are going to discuss today take place almost 6300 to 7300 years before the events of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. I post 2 new videos each month concerning history, chronology and lore. Consider subscribing to my channel and also follow me on Reddit to find the high resolution copy of this chart. Please check out my Middle Earth series which has 11 videos going over family trees of almost every major house from Tolkien's Legendarium and also the complete chronology of the One Ring of Sauron. Let's move on to today's topic. Around the year 1400 of the Years of the Trees, Dark Lord Melkor was released from the halls of Mandos, and by 1410 of the Years of the Trees, he was allowed to move freely in Valinor. Melkor started to befriend the Noldor and also started spreading lies about the coming of the men and about the Valar. In the year 1449, Fëanor started crafting the 3 Silmarils from a crystalline substance known as Silima. The crystalline substance was a creation of Fëanor, and no one except him knew the art of making it. The Silmarils also held the merged light of the 2 trees of Valinor. Fëanor completed the crafting of the Silmarils by the year 1450 of the Years of the Trees. Warda hallowed the gems such that no corrupt or mortal hands could ever touch them. The beauty of these gems was such that even the Valar admired them. Melkor saw these gems and desired for them. Melkor played upon Fëanor's temperament and pride to convince him that his own half-brother, Fingolfin, was not only planning to usurp his place as heir to Finwë, but also seize the jewels for himself. The Noldor then began forging weapons, which at that point no other Eldar possessed in Valinor. Fëanor's hostility grew to the point where in 1490 he threatened Fingolfin's life. For this, the Valar exiled him to Formenos. In Formenos, Melkor tried to sway Fëanor with words of friendship, but Fëanor understood the intentions of Melkor and rejected him. He also locked away the gems in an iron cage. Melkor waited for his chance, and in 1495 of Years of the Trees, when Fëanor was away from Formenos, attending the high feast in Taniquetil, he and Ungoliant destroyed the 2 trees of Valinor and later went to Formenos, where they killed Fëanor's father, High King Finwë, and also stole the treasures of Fëanor, including the Silmarils. Melkor fled to Middle-earth, which led to Fëanor taking an oath to reclaim the Silmarils, no matter at what cost. After Melkor fled with the Silmarils to Middle-earth, Fëanor swore an oath to recover the Silmarils and, along with his sons and followers, decided to leave for Middle-earth. But the Noldor did not have any ships to sail from Aman to Middle-earth. The Noldor tried to persuade the Teleri to lend them their ships, who refused to do so. The Noldor began taking the ships by force, and when the Teleri resisted, a bitter battle ensued between the two parties. The situation only worsened when Fingon joined the battle, not knowing that it was the Noldor who started the battle, and thus the Teleri were defeated. This battle is known as the First Kinslaying. Due to this act, the Valar proclaimed the doom of Noldor, in which they prophesied failure for all those who followed the House of Fëanor. Fëanor resolved to go on and added a further prophetic statement that their deeds would live on in songs until the end of the world. However, those who repented came back with Finarfin, Finwë's third son. They were accepted by the Valar, and Finarfin ruled as king of the remaining Noldor in Valinor. Fëanor came to Middle-earth in 1497 of the Years of the Trees, and Fëanor died the same year at the hands of Gothmog, Lord of the Balrogs. Fëanor's eldest son, Maedhros, abdicated the kingship in favor of his uncle Fingolfin. After the creation of the sun and the moon and the beginning of the solar years, the Noldor registered a decisive victory against Morgoth in the year 60 of First Age. The elves then set up a 400-year-long siege of Angband, keeping Morgoth contained in his fortress. But in the year 455 of First Age, Morgoth broke the siege and came crushing on the elven forces in Dagor Bragollach, the Battle of Sudden Flames, where he claimed his revenge with the death of Fingolfin. 10 years later, in the year 465 of First Age, Beren of the Edain falls in love with elven princess Luthien. She was daughter of elven king Thingol of Doriath. When Beren asked the hand of Luthien in marriage, Thingol asked Beren to bring 1 Silmaril from Morgoth's crown as a bride price. Beren, with the help of Luthien, fulfilled this task, but he was mortally wounded in this quest. Luthien too passed away in grief of Beren's death, and her soul returned to halls of Mandos. 2 choices were put before Luthien: to remain in Valinor and its eternal bliss, forgetting the griefs of life, but without Beren. For to the Undying Lands, mortals were not permitted to come. The second choice was that she and Beren might return to Middle-earth as mortals, but they would both die a second death. Luthien chose the latter, forsaking the Undying Lands for the love of Beren, so it came to pass that she and Beren returned to Doriath. The quest for the Silmaril was completed. Thingol had received the Silmaril and Beren and Luthien had been wedded. The two went to dwell in Tol Galen in Osiriand, where their son Dior was born. There they lived to the end of their days. In the year 502 of first stage, Thingol received the dwarven necklace of Noglamir. Thingol commissioned the dwarves of Novgorod to set the Silmaril, which he received from Beren, into the Noglamir. The dwarves, enthralled by the beauty of the Noglamir and the Silmaril, refused to hand over the Noglamir to Thingol, who in turn asked the dwarves to leave Menegroth. The dwarves later slew Elven King Thingol and claimed the Noglamir for themselves. But the elves killed the dwarves and brought the Silmaril back to Doriath. Two of the dwarves who were involved in the killing of Thingol fled to Novgorod and lied that the elves had killed the dwarves so as to avoid the payment of setting the Silmaril into the Noglamir. The dwarves of Novgorod later attacked Doriath and sacked the city, stealing the treasures of Doriath, including the Noglamir, but Beren with his army of green elves and ents waylaid and defeated the dwarves at San Athrad and took back the Noglamir and the Silmaril and gave it to Luthien, who owned it until her death the same year. Dior succeeded his grandfather Eluthingol as the king of Doriath in 503 of first stage. The same year he received the Silmaril set in the Noglamir from a Lyque-Vendi, signifying that Luthien and Beren had passed away. Dior wore the Noglamir. In 506 of first stage, the sons of Fëanor, stirred by their oath, sacked Doriath, leading to second kinslaying, which resulted in death of Dior and his wife. A few elves who were loyal to the Elven king took the Noglamir and Dior's daughter Elwing to Heavens of Sirion. Elven princess Elwing now owned the Silmaril and she married Elven prince Eärendil. Both Elwing and Eärendil were heirs to the respective kingdoms of Doriath and Gondolin, which unfortunately were sacked, and hence they sought refuge in the Heavens of Sirion. When the sons of Fëanor learned that the Silmaril was with Elwing, they sacked the Heavens of Sirion and slaughtered much of the population of the Heavens. Elwing cast herself along with the Noglamir into sea, but she was saved by Ulmo, who took her to Eärendil, who was out at sea. Eärendil would be the last to own the Noglamir and the Silmaril. Eärendil used the light of the Silmaril to guide him through the shadowy seas, and he found his way to Aman. The Valar then set the Silmaril as a star in the sky, bound on Eärendil's brow as he sailed through the sky. On the other hand, Morgoth continued to own the other two Silmarils until the end of the War of Wrath. After Morgoth was defeated by the united forces of Valar, Elves and Edain, the two remaining Silmarils were removed from his crown. The sons of Fëanor, Maedhros and Maglor, stole one Silmaril each from the camp of the victorious Valar, but the Silmarils burnt their hands because of their evil deeds. Maedhros cast himself into a fiery chasm, bringing his own death, whereas Maglor cast the Silmaril into the sea, unable to bear the pain. The fate of Maglor remains unknown. Thus, one Silmaril is now in sky, one in earth, and the last one in sea. Fëanor's spirit remained in the halls of Mandos and would never be reincarnated in Arda. It is said that he will return for Dagor Dagorag and will finally reclaim his beloved Silmarils and break them so that Yuana can use their light to restore the two trees. I hope you all liked this video of the complete chronology of the Silmarils. Be sure to join me next month as I will be discussing another interesting topic from Middle-earth. You can watch the Middle-earth playlist, which has 10 videos going over every major royal house from the Middle-earth, and also the chronology of the One Ring of Sauron. All my charts are freely available on Reddit and Twitter. If you like my work, consider supporting me on Patreon, or you can buy me a coffee by scanning this code. Please like the video and share it with your Tolkien friends and family. Thank you.